brief overlay. I have to make a quick title. People are more prone to click on it if it's not just there's some kind of title or something. All right. So we're doing the offering. We're late, but no problem. Let's honor the gurus. I'm gonna do it on the harmonium because I haven't done it in a while. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshara Militana Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Slapitane Namutale Swayam Rupa Gadalaya Bhati Svadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakala Shri Vaishnava Shri Rabban Sagadata Saganam Tansajiva Sarvaita Samaduta Parijana Sahita Krishna Jeva Jirada Krishna Pada Sahagana Tamita Shri Visha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bando Jagatate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Miri Vachakalpa Tarubhyascha No, Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Vigatate Gopisha Gopika Tanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Miri Panchakalpa through Vishta Kripa Sindhu Gevata Patitanam Bhavanidya Vaishnava Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sati Vrinda. Just realizing, I think the Zoom sound is not good, so that was not very attractive. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishnaya, Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavani Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayed. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer their respectful obeisance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, to Narayan reach the Supreme Human Being, and to Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shrinvatam Svagata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyanta Sloya Bhadrani, Vedunoti Suhritsatam. Shri Krishna is Paramatma, the super soul in the heart of each living entity, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee. Cleanses the heart of material desire. The devotee has developed the urge to hear the messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamash loke bhakti bhavati naishtaki. By regular hearing the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, almost all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and love of the Supreme Personality of God, whose prayers are transcend songs, established as an irrevocable fact. Jai. Craig, welcome. Happy Gaur Purnima. Actually, today is the festival of Jagannath Mishra. So yesterday was a little bit more austere. We fast until the moonrise, and we chant. There's a lunar eclipse. You have to really. But now today is like the celebration. We did it. And Jagannath Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father, he celebrated this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth and appearance in this world lavishly, offering charity and making big feasts and giving to the brahmanas, all the Vedic things that one should do. So this is called the festival of Jagannath Mishra today. And it's typically a day where the devotees celebrate, we make something special, we eat something special, we get together and have a good time. So we're kind of busy today. We have our midwives and all kinds of things like that. But, at least we're here, we're trying our best. So anyhow, we're in the Bhagavatam. We did all of our pranam prayers, so this is good. We're on text 46 of the 9th chapter. Today's Bhishma just left this world, and the demigods, everyone's honoring. They're just like, wow, he did that so amazing. Bhishma is considered a Mahajan, meaning someone we should follow. This person has reached the level of perfection, and the whole world should actually follow his example. So he fully merged his consciousness, fully in Krishna consciousness about death. He was so fortunate that Krishna was there greeting him. And Prabhupada was saying Bhishma was able to meditate on him as Parthasarathi, or the charioteer of Arjuna, because that's the way Bhishma experienced him, and that he got to go experience Krishna in the spiritual world in that type of mood. So this is very nice. Now, what are we doing next? Text 46. Tasya nirharanadini Sampadetasya bhargava Yudhishthira karayitva Muhurtam dukkito bhavad Tasya, his, nirharana adini funeral ceremony, Samparitasya, of the dead body, Bhargava, O descendant of Brigu, Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira, Karayitva, having performed it, Muhurtam, for a moment, Dukkita, sorry, Abhavat, became. O descendant of Brigu, this is Shonaka Rishi, so Sutta Goswami speaking to him. After performing funeral rituals for the dead body of Bhishma Dev, Maharaj Yudhishthira was momentarily overtaken with grief. Purport. Bhishma Dev was not only a great family head of Maharaj Yudhishthira, but he was also a great philosopher and friend to him, his brothers, and his mother. Since Maharaj Pandu, the father of the 5 brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, had died, Bhishma Dev was the most affectionate grandfather of the Pandavas and caretaker of the widow, daughter-in-law Kunti Devi. Just before I finish this, do you know what the most important thing for the Pandavas to win the Kurukshetra war was? Do you know? What was the most important thing that happened to assure that the Pandavas would win the Kurukshetra war? Krishna was driving the chariot. Krishna was on the one side, but actually, even everything that Krishna did, if this one thing did not happen in
that thing that happened in the assembly, like they.
What my wife is saying?
Arjuna sat at the feet of Krishna.
Yes, all these things were necessary, but actually, it was said that you would have lost the battle if you did not do this, and Bhishma said it. Does anyone remember?
He touched his feet.
At the beginning of the fight, Yudhishthira went to all of his gurus and teachers, Bhishma, Drona included, and he offered his obeisances to them, and he asked their permission to defeat them in the battle, and they gave their blessing because that's the proper way. That was the only way. It's
like saying, okay, we want to win. Is that okay? Yeah.
Essentially, but you know what, just really humbly going before them, expressing the regret that they have to fight, but just please, I need your blessings. You're my senior, you're my teacher. Please give me your blessings. And he got every one of their blessings. And that was what secured the victory, actually. Krishna being there, yes, the intelligence to do that was the number one security of their victory. And Bhishma said, had you not done that, you surely would have lost the battle. I would have never let you defeat me. But for doing that, now I have to give my blessing. Because this is proper etiquette and dharma. So naturally, when Bhishma left, Yudhishthira was so distraught. I mean, he's so close to them. This was the number one lamentation of Arjuna, to have to fight Bhishma and Drona. He didn't really care about anything else. He could have killed Duryodhana, all of them. They were so treacherous, no problem. But Bhishma and Drona, how could I kill my teachers who are worthy of worship? Like this. So Bhishma is the most affectionate grandfather of the Pandavas and caretaker of the widowed daughter-in-law Kunti Devi. Although Maharaj Dhritarashtra of his 100 sons headed by Duryodhana, the elder uncle of Maharaj Yudhisthira was there to look after them. His affection was more on the side of his 100 sons headed by Duryodhana. Ultimately, a colossal clique was fabricated to deprive the 5 fatherless brothers of the rightful claim of the kingdom of Hastinapur. There was great intrigue common in imperial palaces, and the 5 brothers were exiled to the wilderness. Now, I thought I knew what intrigue means, but I don't know what it means in this context. Intrigue. Arouse curiosity or interest, that's not, but, it's the noun intrigue, the secret planning of something illegal or detrimental. So, I didn't know that. Okay, so there was kind of a conspiracy to oust them from the kingdom, and they did it. And that's what started the whole war. And they were exiled to the wilderness. But Bhishma Dev was always a sincerely sympathetic well-wisher, grandfather, friend, and philosopher to Maharaj Yudhisthira, even up to the last moment of his life. He died very happily by seeing Maharaj Yudhisthira to the throne. Otherwise, he would have long ago quitted his material body, instead of suffering agony over the undue sufferings of the Pandavas. So ultimately, he wanted to see Yudhisthira installed on the throne. He wanted to see Dharma play out and justice play out. He always said, we're inviting our ill fortune by doing these things. Every time Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana went forward with their plans, Bhishma and Drona always spoke out. We cannot do this. We should not do this. But lo and behold, they were bewildered, and they did it anyway. He was simply waiting for the opportune moment because he was sure and certain that the sons of Pandu would come out victorious in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, as his lordship Sri Krishna was their protector. As a devotee of the Lord, he knew that the Lord's devotee cannot be vanquished at any time. Maharaj Yudhisthira was quite aware of all these good wishes of Bhishma Dev, and therefore he must have been feeling the great separation. He was sorry for the separation of a great soul, and not for the material body which Bhishma Dev relinquished. This is the difference. This is worthy of lamentation, the separation of a great soul. Shri Sachi Sutta Nitai ki, Shri Prahlad Nrsimha ki, Baladev Subhadra ki, not Baladev, Ladu Gopal ki, and Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani ki, Jai. So this is what's worthy of lamentation. Not, their material body's finished, oh my God, I'll never see his beautiful beard again or anything like this. No. The soul, the separation of such a great and noble soul that I won't be able to get their association anymore. I won't be able to have their spiritual relief and instruction in my life anymore. This is what's worthy of lamentation. The funeral ceremony was a necessary duty. Although Bhishma Dev was a liberated soul, since Bhishma Dev was without issue, the eldest grandson, namely Maharaj Yudhisthira, was the rightful person to perform the ceremony. It was a great boon to Bhishma Dev that an equally great son of the family undertook the last rites of a great man. So we're not here to, I've heard some devotees more on the immature side. Oh, we don't have to do that. Just chant Hare Krishna. Oh, we don't have to do that. Just chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna is the most important thing. The name of the Lord is so powerful. But one of the good fortunes that this name gives, it gives you the intelligence to conform to societal duties, to do that which isn't disturbing to others, which actually will encourage them to chant Hare Krishna more. Like, for instance, we just had a baby shower, and there's certain rites you should do when having a child. Now, you're not able to do all the rites, so properly. We don't have the super qualified brahmanas. We don't have all these things. But we have, something. But you should do the samskara anyway. You should do your proper duties. And in the midst of that, it set up a facility where we could chant Hare Krishna. That was the most important thing, the chanting of Hare Krishna, the kirtan, the Sankirtan movement going on. That was the main yajna. But doing the rites facilitated. And it even got all of the people at the baby shower. They came, a part of the rite was all the women with children to come and bless the mother and the child and the husband. And so all the women in our family, they came and blessed us. And many of them chanted Hare Krishna. And then they just went on with their lives. But they'll probably never do anything like that again. And if not being related to us, they probably, wouldn't be something they'd likely do in this lifetime. So anyhow, Bhishma dies. He's a great soul. He doesn't need Yudhishthira to do all these rituals so that he gets an exalted destination or anything like that. He's got it. But at the same time, what great men do, common men follow. Yudhishthira led by example. And also, and it was testimony to Bhishma Dev that he had someone as amazing as Yudhishthira be doing his last rites. What a personality. It's said that the son is called a putra. Putra is who trusts Triyate to deliver. Pu is the father. He who's delivering the father. This is what a son. This is why Craig can be so proud that he's got Michael carrying on so many devotional duties. And that if Michael does a good job as a son, he will deliver you. After you die, he'll arrange everything that you get all the blessings and encouragement from the devotees and everything like this. And maybe even in this life, maybe he'll poke you like, hey, Dad, remember, come do the devotional thing with me. And pull you in, even if something else is on your mind. But this is what a son should do, is to deliver the father. And this is actually, Yudhishthira, Bhishma didn't need delivering. But Yudhishthira, he further enhanced Bhishma's glory. He further enhanced by Yudhishthira now setting his intention to delivering Bhishma and rising him even further. Krishna will be even more pleased and take him even higher. So these are the point of all these rituals. And we don't neglect our duties. We don't come and tell here, okay, Tanmay, just chant Hare Krishna. Don't worry about your job and your responsibility. Parth, don't worry about this thing. Just chant Hare Krishna. No, it has to be acknowledged. You shouldn't put everything into this thing. This is not where real life is happening. Real life is, where we were singing, right? We made the promise. Yes, Craig.
Is that the same as Krishna telling Arjuna not to just go to the forest because he didn't want to kill his family and gurus and things like that?
Absolutely.
You still do your duty. I've already killed them. You just need to do your duty.
Yeah, you do your duty. And then by Arjuna going and showing cowardice, because Arjuna was a well-known person in society, actually it would degrade society. People would say, "Oh, he could just leave his duty. He just picked up and left. I don't want to do my duty." And then that could start a chain of reactions. So yes, the proper thing is to do one's duty, but to do it in the proper consciousness. Now that being said, there is stages of life. We come to a point. At one point, Krishna said fighting was your duty. And then Krishna left this world, and it was clear to Arjuna that fighting was no longer his duty. He couldn't even defeat some cowherd men in a fight. That's what happened, actually. And they stole all of Krishna's wives. That's a whole nother esoteric pastime. But Krishna had a plan there. But Arjuna, you'll see in a future chapter, that's what happens when Krishna leaves this world. Very sad chapters, actually. They're coming. We didn't already read that, right? No, I think that's later, right? Yes. It's actually one of the most sad chapters for me, when Krishna leaves the world. So I had something I was going to say, but then we had a question and then I lost it. That's okay. Maybe if it's important, it'll come back to me. What's that? Putra, no, the delivering of the son, no, that wasn't, I had like something. You have to do your duty. And this is ultimately, what we have to do so that others can follow our example. If we neglect our duties, then, if we have any influence, others will see. And then we create a karmic web of reactions. We should never neglect our duties. No, this is what I was going to say. At one point, fighting was the duty. But at another point, Krishna said, no, leaving your, when he left, Arjuna had to leave. And then at some point, renunciation becomes your duty. Detaching from the family becomes your duty. Like in Craig's phase of life, this is your duty. Your duty is to detach from family affairs. That's the duty of your position as the, would be Vanaprastha,
Well, in Kali Yuga in America, it's very difficult.
Very difficult, but you find a way. You do it. You do it, but it's everything's difficult. All duties are difficult. In Kali Yuga, if a man can successfully just stay married and raise his children, he's like a great hero in Kali Yuga, because it's like, look at it. Even in America, everywhere. I mean, it's more people are divorced and families torn apart than can actually stay together and have like the nuclear family. It's so rare. You're a great hero just for doing that. But we have these duties, especially we have this higher knowledge. We're not people who have not seen. We don't know what our duty is. If you don't do your duty because you don't know, that's one thing. Krishna will have some arrangement for you. Surely you'll have to suffer some reason because you're not doing things in the most harmonious way for yourself. But it's not the same severity of knowing your duty and like Arjuna, Krishna revealing his duty, telling him, fight, 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 and then Arjuna still, I will not fight. This would be very bad. To know your duty and then to still go against it. As devotees, what's our duty? Serve Krishna, but what's the way? What's the medium to do that? What's the process? Chanting the holy name. It's even more. It's even more. Chanting the holy name is a specific aspect of it, but there's an even broader duty.
Setting an example.
Say, but what's the duty to set that example?
To doing all the duties, like for example.
What did Lord Chaitanya say? All victory to this process.
Congregational chanting, Sankirtan.
Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Part of that is chanting the holy names of Krishna, but it's not just chanting the holy names of Krishna. What is, Krishna Kirtan is one thing, Hari Nam is one thing, but what is Sankirtanam? Getting others together, coming together with others. This is your duty. This is the Yuga Dharma. This is the Kali Yuga, this is the age, the Dharma, this is the duty of the age. If we're not gathering with the devotees and glorifying Krishna, discussing Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, glorifying the Lord, we're not doing our duty. So we're going to be punished. That has to be done. In this age, if you don't do that, your life will result in punishment. You must do your duty. This isn't a system of not doing your duty. But the duty, we put so many things. Your duty's not being a PhD. The duty's not getting a job and making money. The duty isn't supporting your family or even just cooking for Krishna or doing things for Krishna. The duty is Krishna Sankirtan. Gathering, group, Sangha, Kirtan, glorification. Kirtan is not effective without others. Unless you're doing it with others. And then on top of that, and if we don't associate with devotees more advanced than ourselves, we'll stay neophyte, we'll not be humble, and we'll never get anywhere in this process. We have to keep searching for devotees. We have to. Now my job, I'm in a very precarious position. I'm the so-called leader of this thing. I could get very proud. Oh, I'm the teacher. Things, and it happens all the time. If I just associate with those who are less experienced than myself, then it'll be very easy to maintain myself as I'm the advanced one in the room, or something like this. If I don't go and seek out those more advanced than myself, I'm finished actually. So we have to do this, right? This is the way to get mercy. Right? We talked about this the first class last week. Pratipanena, humbly going before someone more advanced than yourself. Pariprashnena, asking questions so that you can make advancement, clarifying your own misconceptions. And then sevaya, rendering service in some way or another. So, let's read one more verse. And then Michael and Craig, have a nice day. Thank you. Tushtu vormunayo hrishta Krishnam tadguya namapi
Krishnam Tatguya Namavi
tataste Krishna hridayaha
Taste Krishna Hridaya
svashraman prayayupuna
Svashraman Prayayupuna
tushtuvu
Tushtu
satisfied
Satisfied
Munaya,
Munaya
the great sages headed by Vyasadeva,
The great sages headed by Vyasadeva.
etc. Hrishta,
Shishta
all in a happy mood.
All in a happy
Krishnam,
Krishna
unto Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead.
Personality of
Tat,
Tat
his, Guhya,
Guhya
confidential, Namabhi,
Namavi
by his holy name, etc.
Tata.
Tata,
Tata
thereafter, Te, they, Krishna Hridayaha, persons who always hear Lord Krishna in their hearts. Sva ashraman, to their respective hermitages. Prayayu, returned. Puna, again.
Again
Michael, have a good day. Thank you for your service. Hari Bol. All the great sages then glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there, by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to their respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Krishna within their hearts. Hare Krishna, Michael. Hare Krishna, Craig. Thanks for coming.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
You're very welcome. The devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is always in the hearts of the devotees. That is the sweet relation between the Lord and his devotees. Due to unalloyed love and devotion for the Lord, the devotees always see him within themselves. And the Lord also, although he has nothing to do and nothing to aspire to, is always busy in attending to the welfare of his devotees. For the ordinary living beings, the law of nature is there for all actions and reactions. But he is always anxious to put his devotees on the right path. The devotees, therefore, are under the direct care of the Lord, and the Lord also voluntarily puts himself under the care of his devotees only. So all the sages headed by Vyasadeva were devotees of the Lord, and therefore they chanted the Vedic hymns after the funeral ceremony just to please the Lord, who was present there personally. All the Vedic hymns are chanted to please Lord Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. All the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta, etc. are seeking him only, and all hymns are for glorifying him only. The sages therefore performed the exact acts suitable for the purpose, and they happily departed for their respective hermitages. So all the great sages glorified Krishna with confidential Vedic hymns, and all of them returned to their hermitages, always having Krishna in their hearts. So this is, even though naturally you might want to stay with Krishna always, like wherever you go, Lord, I want to go. But the Lord has his own activities and duties that he's doing. And it became clear that, okay, it's time to go back to your hermitages, do your duty. But they always carry Krishna in their heart. This is what the devotee is always doing. Even though, like Prabhupada, for instance, the guru is the representation of Krishna in one's life. Prabhupada, couldn't be with all the devotees. Imagine all the devotees just followed Prabhupada around all the time. The whole time, there's just wherever Prabhupada went, every single devotee was there. No, Prabhupada said, no, go here. Carry my instructions in your heart, but go here and share this mercy with others. So similarly, great sages, there's the Lord, but they have their duties that will please the Lord. So they continue their own duties, and know that if they're not with the Lord, doing that which is pleasing to the Lord, they will be more connected to the Lord than being with the Lord, but, ultimately not fulfilling his ultimate desire for them. So this is actually the duty of the devotee, not to always be in the association of the Lord. Last night there was a moment after everything was finished, and we were trying to close up the deities, and we saw Meghna was just gazing at the deities, and she really has a deep affinity for Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. When they're here, she's so happy. So when Rishi comes and brings them, Meghna is very pleased. So she's going wherever they go. And I was like, do you really want to please them? And she's like, yes, of course. And I was like, you really want to please Lord Chaitanya? Yes, of course. And he's like, well, I was like, what do you think the most dear thing is to them? And what do you think?
To be with
The devotees. The devotees. The Lord, you could say so many things to the Lord, but if you don't honor and glorify the devotees, the Lord will neglect you. But you could even blaspheme the Lord, but if you show some honor and love to the devotees, the Lord will accept you. This was seen with Jagai and Madhai with Nityananda. You know, when the devotee was blaspheming, Lord Chaitanya was ready to kill him. But then, when Nityananda on his behalf said, please forgive them, please, this is a very nice pastime, please forgive them, please forgive them, share your mercy with them, on his request, then the Lord will give the mercy, even though they've done nothing to earn it, other than the devotee. So, I was just urging Meghna, go be with the devotees, you know, go give great care and attention to the devotees. The same way you're giving care and attention to the deities. Give the care and attention to the devotees. This will please them even more. So this is actually our duty. And so this can be kind of teased out in this verse. How dear the Lord is to the devotee, and then the devotee is to the Lord. It's short. We could do one more.
You can do 2 more. That finishes the chapter.
All right, Parth wants to go for it. Okay. We'll just do the Sanskrit Tanmay. Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asa Gandharim Cha Tapasvinim Tata. Thereafter Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira, Gatva, going there, Saha, with Krishna, the Lord, Gajavayam, and the capital named Gajavaya Hastinapur, Pitaram, unto his uncle Dhritarashtra, Santvayam Asa, consoled, Gandharim, the wife of Dhritarashtra, Cha, and Tapasvinim, an ascetic lady. Thereafter Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Sri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. Purport. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the father and the mother of Duryodhana and his brothers, were the elder uncle and aunt of Maharaj Yudhishthira. After the battle of Kurukshetra, the celebrated couple, having lost all their sons and grandsons, were under the care of Maharaj Yudhishthira. They were passing their days in great agony over such a heavy loss of life and were practically living the life of ascetics. The death news of Bhishma Dev, uncle of Dhritarashtra, was another great shock for the king and the queen, and therefore they required solace from Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira was conscious of his duty, and he at once hurried to the spot with Lord Krishna and satisfied the bereaved Dhritarashtra with kind words from both himself and the Lord also. Gandhari was a powerful ascetic, although she was living the life of a faithful wife and a kind mother. It is said that Gandhari also voluntarily closed her eyes because of the blindness of her husband. Who's here? Oh. A wife's duty is to follow the husband cent per cent. Where's my wife? Is she listening? I hope so. A wife's duty is to follow the husband cent per cent. And Gandhari was so true to her husband that she followed him even in his perpetual blindness. Therefore, in her actions, she was a great ascetic. Besides that, the shock she suffered because of the wholesale killing of her 100 sons and her grandsons also was certainly too much for a woman. But she suffered all this just like an ascetic. Gandhari, although a woman, is no less than Bhishma Dev in character. They are both remarkable personalities in the Mahabharata. So this is glorifying Gandhari, actually putting him on the same platform as Bhishma Dev. Now Gandhari, after her sons were lost, she was naturally, she ended up cursing Krishna. And she is responsible for Krishna leaving this world. That's how powerful she is.
Now it hits the doors and something.
What's that?
Hunter.
Yes. But it was her that said that you and your descendants, you'll also lose 100 sons, you'll also lose all your descendants in a fratricidal war, and
He accepts it.
and he accepts it. Actually, if it wasn't going to go to him, his devotees, the Pandavas would have had to accept it. Whoever was going to talk to Gandhari first after the war, they were getting it. You know, she was very angry, and so Krishna voluntarily took it. So let's do the last verse here. Pitra chanumato raja Vasudeva Numoditaha
Vasudevanumoditaha
Chakara Rajam Dharmena
Gararajam Dharmena
Pitra Paitamaham Vibhu
Paitamam Vibhu
Pitra by his uncle Dhritarashtra.
Uncle Dhritarashtra.
Cha
Cha
and
and
Anumata
Anumata
with his approval.
which is a
Raja
Raja
King Yudhishthir.
King Yudhishthira.
Vasudeva Anumodita
Vasudevanumodita
confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna.
confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna.
Chakara
Chakara
executed.
executed.
Rajam
Rajya
the kingdom.
the kingdom.
Dharmena
Dharmena
in compliance with the codes of royal
in
principles.
compliance with the codes of royal principles.
Pitra
Peter,
father.
father.
Paitamaham
Paitama,
forefather.
forefather.
Vibhu
Vibhu,
as great as.
as great as.
After this, the great religious king Maharaj Yudhishthira executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. So it's interesting. He still, even though his uncle did so many bad things, but he still respected his position as the former king, and he himself ruled under his guidance and pleasure. You know, whatever you think do you think this is best? He would always consult to him. This is a huge humility of the devotee. Yudhishthir did the Rajasuya, he just won the war, even though his uncle tried to set up killing him. No problem. He could forgive all that, and he can treat him with the utmost respect based on his position. Only a devotee can do something like this. No one else would be able to handle such trespassing against one's false ego. You know, if the false ego is stepped against, we get very angry. I hate this person. But you know, only someone who has a dissolved false ego, a completely humble devotee, even when can be so tolerant, can be so humble. You know, and that's why he could glorify Krishna. Yes.
Prabhu, I have one question. Like, you know how in Srimad it said like being more like devoid of false prestige, and you have to be tolerant and everything. But then, like, I just had this thought, like, then why it was like Prabhupada like saying that Mahatma Gandhi wasn't right, because even he was kind of doing that. Like, it was just like a confused question that came in my head, like, because even
Yes.
he
It
was
says
doing
be
that.
so humble, but
Yeah.
then we see that he's not promoting nonviolence, and he's not promoting
Yes.
just tolerating anything. There's two things where we have to be so humble and so tolerant that we any time the Lord and the devotee is transgressed against, we must rise and fight and immediately destroy that thing. Actually, this is we should never accept these things. Trinadapi sunechena and Torapi sahishnuna are for the common living entities. But when the Lord and the devotee are when they are in harm's way, so to say, we must step against it. We must be humble and go before that and be ready to fight, because we have to defend the Lord and we have to defend the devotee of the Lord. It's less humble to just let devotees be mistreated. It's less humble to not rise up against improper means. Gandhi was he was concocting his own ideas. He was doing so many interesting things. He was saying the Gita is all about non-fighting, but actually that's not the Gita. The Gita is so many verses, fight, fight, fight. But you have to how do you do so humbly? How it seems like it's contradictory, but it's actually not contradictory, because what's the difference is that the devotee knows when to act, even though they may not want to. The devotee never wants to harm anyone. The devotee never wants to harm anyone. But for that living entity's benefit, they have to sometimes harm them. Like a child. If a child is bad, you can't just let the child be bad. If the child keeps letting, we see this, it's actually a symptom of Kali Yuga, that the parents, they try and nurture their children so much they don't know how to discipline the child. So then the child becomes spoiled and a big brat, like Duryodhana. He was a big spoiled brat. He's like a big spoiled child. And they do so many bad things because no one ever punished them. No one ever disciplined them and let them know they can't do that. You can't just be the child has done this. Oh, have to be humble. Let the child do. No, you have to be humble enough to do your duty. Do something you don't want to do. You don't want to hurt the child. But you have to discipline the child so that he knows better. It's an act out of love. So if you take that to the other living entities, if someone transgresses against the Lord and his devotees, they must be chastised at least. If you don't chastise them, you're not actually being humble. You're not helping them. Like, one of my duties is I have to chastise you guys sometimes. I don't like to do it, actually. If it was up to me, you guys would all just always do the right things, and I would always all do the right things, and everything would be good, you know. But what happens instead? We still are going through layers of the false ego, and if I see that either a devotee, something has happened to a devotee, or if I see that worship of the Lord is transgressed and not being done properly, I have to chastise. Not that I want to, is I have to. Because that's what's best for you. You should know you should not do like that. And similarly, a child, they should know you can't do that. Spank. Little slap on the butt, or a little slap on the wrist, or a twist of the ear. They have to know. So actually, you have to be so humble and tolerant. You have to know when it's time to also use force or anger. You know, it's not that we never have anger, right? The Vacho Vegam verse, you remember what Prabhupada, his commentary on it? Yeah. You use your anger for when somebody transgresses the Lord and his devotee. And then it has to come out. That's what violence is used for. When somebody is, an offender to the devotees, you should beat them. It depends on the circumstances. But if someone comes in here and hits a devotee, we should beat the snot out of that person. They should know never to do that. Never you shouldn't even do, and everybody is, the Lord's. If somebody is an abuser, it's good that they get beat. It's in the laws of Dharma, an eye for an eye is, kind of the system. You're a thief, cut off their hand. This is not saying we should take the law into our own hands. We're not in the position to do these things. But if somebody were to blaspheme the Lord or the devotees with their words, at least we should leave. We should not listen to them any longer, not give them our association in any way. Even better, we can challenge them on their arguments and defend the Lord and the devotees. But this, it can be confusing what really being humble and really being tolerant is.
It was just like a question because if say suppose somebody is not being nice to you and how do you understand you have to be humble and you have to keep accepting.
Yes. Actually, the rule is this. For yourself, you tolerate anything anyone puts against you. You understand this is my karma, I deserve this. For a devotee or the Lord, you don't accept any of that. If one person even says one thing wrong towards a devotee, you don't allow that thing. Now you could, we have new people here. There's a bunch of devotees and one of these persons says something silly to a devotee. We don't, you idiot, how could you say that? Do you know who he is? No, But if someone, for instance, sometimes Piyush gives a hard time to Michael. And if it crosses the line to me, then I have to say something. So like this, you could let them work it out or something like this. But actually, if it goes too far, that's it. Like that. So you have to know how to use your intelligence to how to actually be humble and actually be tolerant. And there's certain things for yourself you can tolerate. You guys blaspheme me. Okay. I can take, for me, I have to take it. No problem. You want to blaspheme me? This person said this about me. Okay. I deserve this actually. But if someone says something about Parth or you or them and, it's not out of affection for you, it's out of, something is going off in their false ego and it's improper, you must crush that thing. You don't have to beat them, but you set them straight, The devotees are not weak. Actually, all the great devotees are big warriors, strong, They're, very, very ferocious. Arjuna, you say the wrong thing to the wrong, boom, your head will come off. you know. But it's but it's not like that. The devotee naturally is manadena. They want to offer respect to everyone. But the best way to respect somebody sometimes is to chastise them. So they know, never do that thing again. You're doing something that's harming. When you abuse someone, what you do to them is one thing, but what you're doing to yourself is the worst thing. But you becoming an abuser of someone else, what you do to them is bad, but for whatever reason, it's their karma they accept. But what you've done to yourself is the worst thing, where your consciousness has fallen so low that you start abusing others. You're finished, actually.
Yudhishthira is a very nice example. Like in that sense, he's not talked much like how Arjuna and others are talked about, but like he's so like how you said about even he's paying respect to the previous leader that his like Duryodhana's father.
Exactly.
Like, nobody can do that. Like it needs so much humility.
Yudhishthira there's
so
three
nice, like,
there's
so
three
nice.
personalities who are in the Bhagavatam who are considered to be the exemplary Haridasas. They're quoted in the Bhagavatam as Haridas. There's only three, and Yudhishthira is one of them. Uddhava is the next, who's a great devotee, even on a higher platform than Arjuna, and then Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, who is the highest of the Haridasas, and that's for the 10th canto discussions. But Yudhishthira is such an exemplary devotee, and of all the Pandavas, he's reached the highest levels of virtue, and he knew really how to please Krishna in such a wonderful way. Arjuna is also, Yudhishthira and Arjuna are like tied, but they're all the Pandavas are so dear to Krishna. But anyhow, let's finish this. But this is a very good point. You should to sum up your point, out of compassion and love and respect for others, sometimes you might even have to fight them or chastise them. Look, use me as an example. Sometimes I chastise you. If I'm chastising you for material things, or because even, you disrespected me, or something like this, that's one thing. But if you should pay attention. If I'm chastising you in regard to something to do with the service to the Lord, or something to do with the devotee, then you say, maybe that was proper. So there's lots of nuance to that. I could totally become an abuser, or I could be mixed. I do mostly a good thing, but then my false ego got involved a little bit as well. But to really be humble, we have to know how to properly use all facilities, including anger, because Gandhi was trying to do something where like no at any cost, no fight back at all, just let them do it. But actually, and then he was disrupting all of the social orders of the caste system and all these things, and the proper varnashram, and he was just trying to say down with all of it. And he was saying he was getting this inspiration from the Gita. But the Gita does not teach any of these things. He was concocting so many things, and which is why ultimately, I don't mean to criticize him, but he really had some crazy ideas in the end, including things with his granddaughter and their friends and all these things. Where you're just like,
I don't know much, but
yeah, why are you doing like that?
just that another piece of niche, and like that
Yeah.
thing came. I don't know. It came to my head. So
Yeah, no, it's good to you should know, and why ultimately did Prabhupada criticize him strongly, and even Bhaktisiddhanta criticized his movement even before him, was that actually Prabhupada was part of Gandhi's movement, and Bhaktisiddhanta said this is an incomplete movement. You focus on Hari Bhajan. This is what the point of life is, not these temporary movements happening in the world. Because they're all focused on material, temporary things. Gandhi didn't have the complete picture. And because in the name of the Bhagavad Gita and in the name of practicing Vedic Dharma, he was focusing on political and temporary things, he should be criticized. It's actually best for him. It's best for those who are followers of him to hear that no, his ideal is not proper. His ideal is very incomplete. There's no salvation he can give with that type of ideal. So this is why you say, well, why would a devotee criticize? Why is Prabhupada criticizing? Why would he call the devotees rascals? It's what's best for them, actually. It's actually what's best for them to know, oh my God, this is rascal activity. So anyway, this is a good point. But let's finish this, as I know we weren't expecting this long. Maharaj Yudhishthira was not a mere tax collector. He was always conscious of his duty as a king, which is no less than that of a father or a spiritual master. The king is to see the welfare of the citizens from all angles of social, political, economic, and spiritual upliftment. The king must know that human life is meant for liberating the encaged soul from the bondage of material conditions, and therefore his duty is to see that the citizens are properly looked after to attain his highest stage of perfection. Maharaj Yudhishthira followed these principles strictly, as will be seen from the next chapter. Not only did he follow the principles, but he also got approval from his old uncle, who was experienced in political affairs, and that was also confirmed by Lord Krishna, the speaker of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj Yudhishthira is the ideal monarch, and monarchy under a trained king like Maharaj Yudhishthira is by far the most superior form of government, superior to modern republics or governments of the people by the people. There's a shot at American politics right there. The mass of people, especially in this age of Kali, are all born Shudras, basically low-born, ill-trained, unfortunate, and badly associated. They themselves do not know the highest perfectional aim of life. Therefore, votes cast by them actually have no value, and thus persons elected by such irresponsible votes cannot be responsible representatives like Maharaj Yudhishthira. So then he was saying how ideal Maharaj Yudhishthira is. And he's saying how ideal having leadership or rulership by an ideal leader who knows these codes. This is the proper thing. Now you could look in, like, let's take American politics. On one side you have Donald Trump, who all of his allegations of inappropriately associating with women, saying very lewd and disgusting things, having casinos. Casinos are not a pious business. Having liquor, brands, things, all these type of things. On one side, many might say he's trying to do a good thing, and I don't even hate all the things he's doing, but he's clearly not a character who's like, yes, this is a qualified leader. But then on the other side, you have like this other one, who is Joe Biden. He's all kinds of really, even Obama. His was he was much more well polished and covered up, but he had all kinds of weird things with homosexual bars and stuff and like that. He would like to, and cocaine and all kinds of things he would get into. Joe Biden, similar things. His son got busted, with underage girls and drugs and all kinds of things, and they did all kinds of money laundering in Ukraine and all these are not qualified leaders. These are low-born people who have no idea how to lead. They've never been properly trained, and all they have to do is win the popularity contest, and then they get in there and they make all the legislations to benefit them, their families, and they do things that ultimately harass the people, and they get involved in all kinds of horrid wars and trade wars, this, that, and the other. It's a disaster in Kali Yuga. We say, even in India, there's a pretty pious leader in Modi. He's like appreciates the Gita, he appreciates spiritual leaders and things like that. But even still, nowhere even close to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Nowhere even close. And still, so the people suffer. If there's a good leader, the people won't suffer. He'll look after every single facet of society. But this is the ideal. This is where leadership is done with a pious monarch. But we have all of our republics, and some people are so emphatic about democracy, or we need to establish democracy all over the world. Yes, great idea. Let the whole world vote for itself what it should do, how it should all, we should all jump off a cliff together. But it's not it's not ideal. But luckily, in, say, a society of devotees, we can establish proper leadership in our little institutions, in our little things. Like here, Mantra Central. Let's say I have to take the post of leadership. No problem. If I'm a fool, I won't take advice. Like even Yudhishthira took advice from Dhritarashtra, because he knew how to run the political affairs for many years. If I'm a fool, I won't take advice, and I'll just say, I'll figure it out all by myself. Actually, I've done that a few times, and I've made a lot of mistakes in doing this ashram business. But after I consult with superiors, and now I recognize every so often, if I don't talk to some advisors, I'm like, hey, I really need a call, this stuff's going on here, please, if I could just talk to you about this. Even in India, we talked with many different advisors on what we could do. I mean, Kalakanta Prabhu was one of them, and he gave us a lot of inspiration on how they move forward with their projects. So like this is, we at least can follow in our own little institutions, in our own little dynamics that we set up in our life, that we can follow these type of things. Yeah, it's Kali Yuga. Don't expect that the American government will be run this way, or the world Indian government, or the world governments will not be run this way. You can almost certainly not expect that in Kali Yuga. But in your own little local, hopefully the temple community or whatever local community, or if it's not being run that way, and trust me, there was a reason me and my wife became very attracted to leading something, is not to criticize, but we saw this is not ideal. We saw some things that we didn't find were ideal, and that we felt, what? We could complain about what others are doing, or we can go do something that we do find to be ideal. And so like that, if it ever comes to that, you do something. You do something about it. And you lead properly with these proper ideals, Maharaj Yudhishthir and exemplified in the Vedas. And then you can't complain anymore. And everyone will just complain about you. That happens to me, Now I see, I should have had compassion on the leaders. It's very difficult. I was so complaining about them, but now I'm seeing how difficult it is to lead and manage so many things. I'm like, oh my God. So that's why I need consultation. I need advisors. And I have a few that I trust and that have been helping me. That's the only thing that has made things work, actually. And there's a team. We have friends also, partners, we work along. Also, we all get advice together. It's the only way this has worked, actually. Anyhow, too long. We went too long. But Hare Krishna, thank you for joining.